hello, America. I want to talk to you tonight about communism. And I have to tell you, I know how many people in America feel when somebody gets on TV and says, I got to talk to you about the communist. 3 years ago, I would have made fun of people like me. I would have mocked me. I would have. Don't fall into that trap, please, tonight. Open your mind, open your ears. The country is in trouble. I don't want to believe many of the things that I believe. I think you're the same. But there are communists, believe it or not, communists. It's amazing. I thought we beat it. The best thing to ever happen to the communists was the Red Scare and Joseph McCarthy. We had beat communism. We soundly discredited it. Okay, that's what I thought when the wall came down. Joseph McCarthy, he was a joke, right? In every sense, people viewed communists in his day as traitors who wanted to destroy America. They crept into the unions, especially the teacher unions, the colleges. Now you have a situation where communists were starting to be the ones writing and teaching our history. Now what happens? After communism fell, it was erased. We have children growing up now that they don't even know what communism is. They didn't have to do what we did as kids. They didn't have to go through the emergency attack drills at school where we were like, what? Okay, a nuclear bomb's going to go off and what? I'm going to get under my desk for what? They didn't have to go through duck and cover. They didn't growing up, they didn't hear about gulags. They never had to worry about the Russians. They haven't seen the horror shows of millions of mass murders and starving people at the hands of brutal communist dictators. So now it's just cool to be a communist. What difference does it make? T-shirts of Che are one of the most popular T-shirts around. Che was a racist and a mass murderer. Yet we have schools banning kids from wearing American flag T-shirts on Cinco de Mayo, but Che T-shirts? Cool. If we're going to ban a T-shirt, and I wouldn't ban any T-shirts, I'd just teach kids what's cool and what's not, I'd ban the one with the killer communist on it. It's not offensive, because nobody knows the history of what these people did. How else can you explain everything that's going on today with little or no outrage? Things like a statue of Stalin going up in Virginia. See that? It's in Virginia. How does this idea not cross somebody's desk and that person say, wait. You want to put a what? Where? It happens because no one knows anymore or cares about communists. People who do know about communists, they're cool. Cameron Diaz illustrated this mindset when she visited Peru to do a TV project on Peru and its culture. While touring the country, she carried a purse emblazoned with a red star and the words, right here in Chinese, "Serve the people." It kind of caused a little bit of an outrage because it was Mao's slogan. It was a Maoist insurgency in the 1980s and 90s that killed 70,000 people in Peru. But that's a fashion bag. That's not to mention the millions, the tens of millions of people that Mao killed in China. It's not so cool when you know history, is it, Cameron? But they don't. Nobody's teaching it, and people are busy erasing it. You've got communist teachers in California calling for revolution. That's what this guy's doing. He's a teacher. In Houston, there's a branch of CPUSA. Do you even know what that is? You recognize the symbol if you're my age, Communist Party USA. They are a group calling for the nationalization of BP. Nationalization of BP, communists. Reaching out to young people through Facebook. Ah, look at that. And their favorite movie is Capitalism, a love story. Hey, that's Michael Moore. Cindy Sheehan in New Orleans talked about challenging capitalism. Listen to what she's calling for.
Any meaningful discussion of this disaster must challenge the system and structure of capitalism. If we had socialism where the companies were nationalized and the democratic control of the workers, the cleanup would have been, well, maybe they would have had an acoustic device on the blowout preventer. Maybe they would have spent the extra $500,000 to prevent this disaster, and we wouldn't have to be here.
Yeah. Or, Cindy, maybe like every other nationalist or socialist or communist in the history of mankind, they'd already be bankrupt, and people would be living in gulags. One of the two, but I'm going to go with your happy scenario. What do you say we go with history? It's obvious we aren't paying attention to history anymore because the Communist Party had their annual convention broadcast on C-SPAN. Think about that. Half a century ago, we were rooting out communists as traitors to our Constitution and our country. Now, we're putting them on C-SPAN, and nobody says a word. How did we get here, and how do we get out? Well, we have to start listening to warnings. We've been warned before, but we didn't listen. Former Secretary of Agriculture in the 1960s, Ezra Taft Benson, warned about what was coming in a 1966 speech. He talked about a meeting that he had had with Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev. Listen.
As we talked face to face, he indicated that my grandchildren would live under communism. After assuring him to do all in my power to assure that his and all other grandchildren will live under freedom, he arrogantly declared in substance, "You Americans are so gullible. No, you won't accept communism outright. But we'll keep feeding you small doses of socialism until you finally wake up and find you already have communism. We won't have to fight you. We'll so weaken your economy until you fall like overripe fruit into our hands."
I had dinner about 6-8 months ago with Mike Benson, that man's grandson. It is possible. It is possible. This man knew firsthand what was happening. And documents now show that FDR had used the Department of Agriculture as his own communist recruiting station. Documents. Henry Wallace was the secretary. This man, he was a progressive. He was supported by the Communist Party USA. He never denounced any communist support he ever received. Why would he? FDR and Wallace decided they needed to help the poor farmers who were in dire financial crisis. Their idea, well, it usually goes this way with communists, artificially raised prices. They ended up slaughtering 6 million pigs. They plowed up cotton fields and destroyed crops all over the country. This all in the middle of the worst depression we had ever had. Is it any wonder why socialism and communism ends up with people starving to death? Oh, by the way, in an unrelated note, Hugo Chavez is seizing control of the food now. There are now 80,000 tons of rotting food in warehouses. But pay no attention to that, because communism is cool. Have you seen my new Perth? This is why we need to know history, or else we're doomed to repeat it.